The story of the Tower of Babel is a well-known etiological tale about the origin of different languages. But it's more than this. Just as the story of the fall is more than an etiological tale about why women suffer great pain when giving birth. The story seems to be inserted into the text and bears no real relation to the rest of the narrative, which both before and after it recounts the story of the descendants of Noah. According to the account of Babel, the people of the earth came together and discovered how to build with brick and mortar, that is, in contrast to stone. They decide to build a great city with a great tower. Their motivation is like that which prompts Gilgamesh to undertake the expedition against Humbaba. The unnamed people in the Babel story wish to attain lasting fame in their struggle against obscurity and the meaninglessness of existence. They say to one another, quote, "Come, let us build ourselves a city, and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we shall be scattered abroad upon the whole earth." This was a common sentiment among some ancient peoples. It can clearly be seen in the great architectural works of the Egyptian pharaohs, who wanted to leave an enduring mark on the world by creating a massive structure such as a large pyramid or temple. Like Gilgamesh, this is their attempt to make at least their name immortal. Historically, Babel has been associated with the Mesopotamian city of Babylon. This association is due in part to the closeness of the Hebrew equivalents of the words Babel and Babylon. Moreover, Babylon was one of the earliest large cities, and most importantly, it was famous for its large ziggurat, which was an enormous temple dedicated to the god Marduk. When God sees what the people have made, he seems threatened by it, just as he was worried that if Adam and Eve were to have knowledge of good and evil, they would, quote, become like one of us. He's worried by what the humans can achieve when they work together. This is somewhat odd for an all-powerful God. With alarm, he says, quote, "Look, they are one people, and they have one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do. Nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them." Due to the vow made to Noah, God can no longer destroy all human life. Instead, he must find some other way to prevent humans from becoming too powerful. So he decides to introduce different languages, which will make it difficult for people to understand each other and to work together. He says, again, using the first person plural, as if speaking to other gods, "Come, let us go down and confuse their language there, so that they will not understand one another's speech." The result of this was exactly what the people originally feared. They were scattered about and left off building the city and the tower. God thus sets the confines of what humans can achieve. It's regarded as arrogant to try to attain anything beyond these limits. There are certain achievements which are reserved for God, and humans should not attempt to accomplish them. Today, we still talk in this way when one says that people are attempting to play God in the context of, for example, certain issues in biomedical ethics. The idea is that they are in effect usurping God's role. In Greek tragedy, this is referred to as hubris, which can be translated as foolish pride. It indicates the desire to go beyond what's appointed for humans. The legend of Icarus's attempt to fly is often taken as an example of this. What does this tell us about the ancient Hebrews' understanding of the rightful and correct role of humans? There are two fundamental dispositions towards nature that different peoples have taken. The first is an attempt to live in harmony with nature. This is found primarily in nomadic peoples or hunter-gatherer societies. It can be seen in some native North American cultures or in different forms of Buddhism. The idea here is that humans are continuous with nature. Living things are regarded as sacred, and as, for example, with Buddhism, animals should not be harmed. The second is the conception of humans as superior to nature. This view involves the attempt to subordinate nature to human control or to instrumentalize nature. Here, nature is conceived as a threat or a rival. Early peoples worshipped on hills or mountains, since these elevated areas were thought to be closer to the gods who lived in the sky. Recall that God speaks to Moses and gives him the commandments on top of a mountain. Thus, peoples such as the Sumerians built ziggurats, and the Egyptians, Mayas, and Aztecs built pyramids in order to imitate mountains and hills, that is, large, impressive structures of nature. These were places that were invariably sacred since they brought humans closer to the gods. The instinct was that humans could create something that was equally grand and impressive as nature herself. We're still doing this today when, for example, we try to imitate natural materials in, say, prosthetic devices. This conquest of nature is a part of the Western spirit. In the Bible, with the story of the Tower of Babel, this attempt to imitate nature is regarded as arrogant and hubristic. The Tower of Babel can be seen as a second account of the fall in the sense that humans again commit a sin in an attempt to become like God. As their punishment, new limits are set on the conditions of their existence and what they can achieve. Both stories imply that humans should live in harmony with nature and not attempt to go beyond this. Nature is the proper sphere for human activity, whereas God alone is beyond nature. He alone can create nature.